we're just like always on the grind. I feel like every El Pasoan works like 3, 4 jobs and has side
Side
hustles, and
hustle. Yes.
yeah, we're always working, and so when we when we rest hard, when
Mhm.
we go party, we party hard in the desert, and we just don't think of the consequences afterwards.
Today's guest is Megan Jimerson, a dedicated El Paso educator who is reimagining what learning can look like outside of traditional classrooms. Megan is the founder of Sunhive Micro School, a small private and highly personalized learning environment designed to meet students where they are and nurture curiosity, creativity, and confidence. Beyond education, Megan, alongside her fiance, is also the co founder of EP Trash Mob, a grassroots initiative focused on keeping El Paso's neighborhoods clean through through community led litter cleanups. Say that 3 times fast, and civic pride. In this conversation, we'll explore Megan's identity as an educator and community advocate, how El Paso's culture shapes her work, the realities of burnout and recovery, and what it takes to build mission driven projects while maintaining balance and purpose. I'm your host, Charvon Hales, and this is Light, Life, and Limitations, a podcast where creativity meets reality. When the world feels out of frame, every thought, every fear, every revelation, I find my way through the quiet flame, lighting life in all the limitations. Welcome, Megan.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to chat with you.
I'm excited too.
We talk one on one about these things, but I think this is a good opportunity for you to really get your initiatives and your information about your school out to a wider audience, because I love what you're doing. So I'm going to give you an opportunity, kind of, give us some background on who Megan is and how you became a teacher and why you care so much about litter.
Alright, so I come from a big family. I'm born and raised in El Paso, um, and we had a big traditional family, and I grew up with all my cousins, and, I was always very nurturing even as a child.
Mhm.
So I just grew up taking care of my younger cousins, taking care of my neighbors, just kind of always being like the mom of the group. So it was kind of a natural field for me to get into. It was either I knew in high school I either wanted to work with animals, the environment, or with kids. And I'm too much of a crybaby to work with animals, so that was out. And um, I was just naturally gifted when it came to working with kids. So I started very young. I would work with my aunt in the church, doing crafts with fourth graders.
Mhm.
And then I went to college for education and I started working at the Boys and Girls Club. So that was my first real experience with the nonprofit. And I loved my work there. I would run the art program, I'd run programs for girls. Um, we would do tutoring, I'd pick them up from school. And it was just so fun doing that outreach with the community, and this was in Las Cruces. So learning about a community that wasn't my own and a
Mhm.
community that I work with my whole life, and then all of a sudden caring so much about the people, about the kids. So that kind of changed my perspective on just focused on learning on being a teacher. And it really helped me think more about the community and the kids that we're serving. So I worked with the Boys and Girls Club for my years in college. And then I started a teaching job in New Mexico. The pandemic hit, and I wanted to come back home, so I started working over here. I teach the littles right now. I'm a first grade teacher,
Mhm.
and the greatest part is just hanging out with the kids, but more importantly, like seeing their interest and seeing how much young learners care.
Mhm.
And I had done with one of my groups about 2 years ago. We started learning about just the environment, and I had shown them it was a planet Earth, and it was about a little bird, and it, like, had all this plastic, so it was hungry, and it just because all it could find was plastic, and
Mhm.
there was that to eat, and the kids were like, "Oh my gosh, this is terrible." I was like, "This is terrible, kids. What are we gonna do?" All just for that whole year, they were so invested in picking up trash, and
Mm.
really, like, what inspired me, I was like, "Wow, like, El Paso, we do have quite a bit of trash for us to pick up," and every time we'd go outside, there was more for us to clean up. And so seeing how the kids were so motivated to change their surroundings motivated me. There was a bunch of 5-year-olds and I was like, I can be doing more
Yeah.
than just teaching these kids. I can really instill a sense of community pride in them." So that's kinda how I started, Trash Mob.
Mhm.
And, I've just been working with kids ever since, and now I do community pickups on the side. That's kinda my side gig right now,
Mhm.
and, ever since then, I just haven't looked back. It's all been education, education, education for me.
I know, I love that, and then you're kinda have a new little spinoff, right, for your trash mob to get m more children involved. Um, I don't know if you wanna talk about that yet or you're still working on that, but,
Well, we're still working on it, but we had asked, the community, like, "What can we do to change this?" Because the deserts in El Paso are just completely littered, they're junked up, and
mhm,
a lot of people talked about changing it for the younger generation, educating them. And so right now, it's still in the makings, nothing is out yet, but I'm writing a curriculum. It's called, EP Trash Bandits, and it's for kids, and it's gonna teach them the importance of keeping your community clean, why we shouldn't litter in the first place. And I'm really hoping that these younger generation is gonna be better than us
mhm.
and can if we pick up the mess that we've made, in not even in just trash, but in everything, in our society and the way that we treat each other. If we can clean that up, then they can sustain it, and then their generation won't have any traumas. They just can live.
Yeah. So do you feel that, with the local culture like, what are some of the challenges, I should say, with, I guess, maybe local culture with regard to, littering or, not necessarily cleaning up after themselves? Because I've been on some of the pickups, right? And especially out in the deserts, you can tell that there's people that go out there to party and drink, and, we find all the twisted teas out there.
Yeah.
So, I guess I should say, how can that be addressed on, like, a cultural level, to kind of encourage people to just basically clean up after yourself?
Uh, I've born and raised in El Paso, and it's a very unique culture that we've built for ourselves here.
Mhm,
We're very much so in our bubble, our little Chuco bubble, and we're sustaining. I think we're a people of resilience,
mhm,
and we're just, like, always on the grind. I feel like every El Pasoan works, like, 3, 4 jobs and has side
side
hustles, and
hustle. Yes.
yeah, we're always, always working, and so when we when we rest hard, when
Mhm,
we go party, we party hard in the desert, and we just don't think of the consequences afterwards. And, um, I think it really just comes down to being aware of the problems because the desert is so big and it's so vast, and I don't think it's a malicious of like, "Ah, I'm gonna go leave my trash out here." It's
mhm,
more like, "This desert is huge and I'm one person. What is leaving one twisted tea out here, one natty light, one bottle of liquor, or leaving my trash out here? I'm just one person. This desert is huge." But there are so many people doing it.
mhm.
All of those littles, "Oh, I'm just this
Over
one."
time, it builds up,
It's
yeah.
yes, and it's just grown into something that now it's gonna take us years and years to redevelop all of this. And so I think once we're more aware of the issues and it is spreading with all these, community groups that are now
Mhm,
picking trash, and there's so many volunteers that go out, so and they're all El Pasoans, so we do care.
yes.
Just we get once we get everybody aware of it, that's what's gonna lead to change, I think.
So, we just talked about how the culture of El Paso is to have multiple hustles, right? So you're juggling education and, community advocacy as well as Sun Hive Micro School that you're developing. So how do you balance all of that, like, realistically?
Yeah, you gotta have a good community. You have to have I mean, my full-time job is still teaching. I'm
Mhm,
building Sun on the side, and, Trash Mob is just kinda like my little passion. Um, but having a community, especially if you're a teacher, you really have to have, like, your teacher besties that got your back at work, having friends outside of work, that you can kind of rely on, and even just, like, just being able to turn your brain off for a little bit.
Mhm.
Having supportive people in your life makes the difference, and once you have to start taking care of everybody all the time, that's when it goes crazy. So making sure that you build yourself a strong community has really helped me.
Do you have any practices that help you stay grounded, especially when, like, life gets really full?
Hmm. Um, I love a routine, and I try not to venture off my routine, and that I has helped me. So I there's, like, things that are just non-negotiables, like, um, making sure my house is cleaned. I know, like, that doesn't sound like it's, like, stress relieving, but always having my house clean really helps me when it's like, "Oh, I don't have to do 1,000 things because I
Mhm.
things all the time." Going to the gym, taking care of your physical body so you're actually able to do the things that you want to do. Um, and building that strong routine, relying on it.
And Beyoncé.
And Beyoncé.
And
Okay,
Beyoncé.
let's start.
So speaking of Beyoncé, let's
Give
go
me
on a little
Beyonce.
detour real quick about how I met Megan.
Let's.
Oh, like many of the people who are gonna be featured on this podcast, I've met Megan on Instagram. I don't know how I came to follow her. I was just mass following people in El Paso.
Girl.
But there was you made a post about going to Cowboy Carter, and I said that I'm gonna have to live vicariously through you because I didn't manage
Mhm.
at the time. I didn't have tickets, and our mutual love of Beyonce just turned into regular chit chats in the
Yep,
DMs. And then eventually we hung out in person and then found out we had a lot of other things in common, like our love for plants and tattoos and animals and a clean city.
uh-huh.
So, um,
Before you know it, we're at Cowboy Carter together.
yes. And then next thing we know, I'm like, hey, come to Vegas.
Mhm. As I'd say less, I'm out there.
Yeah. So, you can definitely meet strangers on the internet that aren't gonna kill you.
I'm not taking that. Exactly, yes, exactly.
But speaking of that, and other things like your plants and your pets and everything, um, how how do those things, outside of your work and your hustles help you to recover when you are kind of going through a moment of burnout?
I think it's and this could be good advice for El Pasoans because we're grinders. We're constantly doing something. It's that you have to find something you enjoy that it's not always about the hustle. So,
Mhm,
like, when I'm gardening or when I'm tending to my 5011 plants, like, I'm doing it just because I like it, and it's okay for us, especially for us women, it's okay for us to take that time for ourselves, and it's just not for anybody else. It's not for us to make money, it's not for us to, um, have content or anything like that. It's just because we love it, and it's okay. And it's okay for us to rest, it's okay for us to be selfish with that time. Um, so whenever I'm just kinda just kicking it with my dogs or taking all my rearranging my plans for the 30th time or even just reading. I sat on the sofa the other day and I just read the entire day. And it does make like you feel a little bit guilty at first, but then when you finish, you're like, oh my God, like I've been wanting to do this and I finally got the chance to do it.
mhm.
So don't be afraid to just take that moment to yourself, um, and just do something for you that you like. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I you can see all of my various hobbies behind me.
Oh, you're the queen of hobbies. If somebody needs, like, inspiration for a hobby, just hit up Charmaan and she'll
Just
tell you
follow my
something.
SideQuest Charvy account, see all the random things I like exploring, very much like my cat. I'm just,
Mhm,
uh, very, like to investigate and try new things and, see what sticks.
mhm.
Um, but let's talk about Sunhive Micro School for a
Yes,
bit.
yes.
So, explain what a micro school is. Let's start there.
So a micro school is a new term, and it's just a term for a small school. It's very, loose, and it can definitely be whatever you wanna make it. So, what I am choosing to make my micro school, it's a community-based school,
Mhm,
and we like to point out that we're not just accepting the student, we're accepting the family, and
mhm.
we're going to build a community of learners and learners' families that want to invest into their kids' education.
And what was the motivation behind developing Sunhive?
Having too many kids having too many kids in my classroom was my biggest motivation, and I think most teachers, if not all, can say that after 2020, education has changed
Mm,
drastically. Is so different. I started teaching, like, formally teaching in 2018, um, and from 2018 to 2020, it was like a completely different field. The expectations
mhm,
were so much higher on these kids. The level of development and what the kids were being asked to perform was, so much higher, yet it seems to be so much more difficult for these kids to attain it. So I believe in excellence, and I believe in having high expectations of our students because I've seen kids come to me not knowing how to speak English,
mm,
not knowing how to speak the language that they're learning in, not knowing their letters, how to hold a pencil, and by the end, they're fluent in it because they have that high expectation of themselves.
yeah.
And so I believe in that. I believe that kids are capable, but I believe it has to be done with fidelity, and it has to be done in an appropriate way that meets the kids. So I started dreaming of this, um well, it's actually it's kinda my dad's dream because my dad always had this image, when I was going to school, he told me, and I was like, "Pops, you're crazy." But he had told me, he was like, "Yeah, yeah, you're gonna go to school to be a teacher, and then you're gonna be a principal, and then you're gonna have, like you can change all your teachers, and they could teach like you, and then you'll have schools, and then you'll have many schools, and then you'll start your own branch." And I'm like, Okay, pops, whatever." And then after, I went from my first year teaching having 16 kids, then to having 17 kids, and then moving back to El Paso. I had, like, 24 kids, and I was like, "Ooh, this is a bit much,"
Oh,
and then
wow.
from 24 to 28, and then from 28 kids to 34 kids, and then I was like, "I can't do this. I cannot give every kid the amount of
Mhm,
attention, love, and dedication that they deserve," and I felt like I was spreading myself so thin trying to give every kid the energy that they really deserved from me because there's so much potential in one kid. It's limitless. It's
mhm.
amazing how much potential is in every kid. And um just seeing that I'm now having to sacrifice some of that because I have too many of them.
Yeah.
I had told my fiance, I was like, dude, I can't keep doing this. Like, and he was like, "Well, we'll just go to another school." And, like, it's the same thing
Yeah,
at other
it's
schools, you
gonna
know.
be the same story, different environment.
Exactly,
Mhm,
and so I was like, "Well, I might as well stick with the school that I'm at 'cause, you know, is what you know." And but every year, it just seems to get more demanding, and then seeing the burnout of the parents and seeing, like, my kids like, "Oh, my mom said that she tried, but she was really tired because she had," and
yeah.
then, like, the kids will tell their teacher everything. Don't tell your kids nothing, parents, because they tell me your whole life. So, the kids telling me everything that their parents are going through is like, "Okay, well, we won't do homework because I wanna help your parents out so
Mhm,
you can spend time with your parents and not work," and then it's like, "Okay, we won't do projects at home now," and so I feel like I'm cutting things out. When it's like we should be doing like, the parents should be as involved in their education and they can.
mhm,
So, that's how Sun Hive came to be, is really out of, like, need
mhm.
to have a better working environment for me and a better learning environment for the kids. Um, Having it small and filling it with parents that want their kids to be there and want their kids to have that greatness.
So, with regard to enrollment in a micro school, is there certain criteria that a child needs to meet to attend the school, or is it just open, um, to anyone who has an interest? Like, I'm not sure if that works in a way like a private school would or a charter school. Um, so yeah, what's the background on that part?
So right now that the legal entity that we have is we are listed as a private school.
Mhm.
Um, we like I had said, we're accepting families, not so much the student. So as long as we're able to support your students, um, and as long as we're the best fit for them, we want to accept you. We want to have that diversity. We want to have different perspectives, but we also want to make sure that everybody is on the same page that we're all
Mhm.
here for the good of the school. And if the school can succeed, your kids will succeed
Yeah.
and you will succeed. So, you know, another thing that we've seen in schools is this escalation of behaviors where the school just isn't the right fit and isn't able to actually manage the behaviors that they're seeing. So we're seeing these extreme behaviors, and it's so like people want to talk about like, oh, like it must be a bad kid or something. But well, like I've seen it with I've had it in my classroom where the kid is just, you can see how stressed they are.
Mhm.
And it's not because they're a bad kid, it's just because it's not the right environment for them.
Yeah.
So, you know, Sun High might not be the best school for your kid. It's about finding that fit.
Yeah.
So we are gonna be a little bit picky because we wanna make sure that we're able to provide what your child needs. Your child deserves to be given the education that they need. It's not just a like,
Mhm.
"Oh, yes, wanna put them in a private school to have the appearance of eliteness," or, "Oh, we're a private school, we only accept this type of kid." Like, no, we wanna make sure that every kid that comes through our door, we're able to meet them
Meet
where they
the needs,
at.
yeah. I think about when I was a kid, because I realize now as an adult it's ADHD, but I was very, very bored in school, and, that would result in not so much acting out, it's just I would finish my work so fast that I
Mhm,
would then become disruptive, right? It
mhm.
was always like my report cards always were, "A pleasure to have in class, but she talks too much,"
Talks too much.
right? Um and so my dad so back in Pennsylvania, we have what are called Quaker schools, right? So these are kind of specialized learning environments for basically like gifted and talented
Mhm,
students. That's what my dad really, really wanted me to go to, but it was like in the city, and my mom was like, "I don't want her going into the city," like,
mhm,
because we lived in the suburbs. But I think about like how that type of a learning environment would have been super beneficial to me as a child who just learned very, very quickly, right? And I was learning faster than my classmates. So in a way, I don't want to say I was being held back, but it was like certain teachers like recognized that in me and they would give me extra things to do or they would like let me help my classmates and stuff like that. But,
mhm,
you know, when you are in a classroom of 34 kids, like sometimes you can't you don't have the bandwidth or the capacity to manage that and then also, give the other learners the type of attention that they need. Because in a
mhm,
mixed classroom like that, kids are at a whole bunch of different levels and stuff. Um,
mhm.
so I love the idea of a micro school. I'm like, I wish I wish I had something like that, growing up, having been in public school and having been someone who kinda, like, needed that type of specialized attention. Um, so with regard to the school, if someone was interested in learning more about the school, or potentially, enrolling their family, how would they go about getting more information?
So right now, the best way to get information is through our website. It's sunhivemicroschool.org. We have an Instagram. It's also Sunhive Microschool. I think it's Sunhive Microschool EP. And you can always send us messages through there. Um, for enrollment, we're actually going to do an enrollment launch soon. So you're going to start seeing more ads from Sunhive, and it's just gonna we've personalized a portal. We've created it ourselves from the ground up, so it should be streamlined. It's completely safe. It's using Google security. Um, and once that launches in, we're hoping the beginning of January, um, as long as all our technology goes well, we're hoping we could start that so we can start taking applications. The application process is pretty straightforward. It's just inputting your information, your child's information, and then scheduling a home visit. That's something, unique with
Mhm,
us because we are making sure that, uh, you're a good fit for what we're looking for, and we're a good fit for what you're looking for.
mhm,
So we wanna have an interview to make it more personal because I spend so much time with these kids. So we wanna make sure that you know who we are and what we stand for.
mhm.
So then we'd schedule that, and then it just comes down to filing the paperwork and making sure that we check all of our boxes, and then we move into the actual enrollment process. So the website is the best place for you guys to find information on us, and subscribing to our newsletter so you can get updates with how we're moving and what's our process and where we're at in our journey.
And if anybody wanted more information on the EP Trash Mob and how to join in the cleanups or to stay in the know, so if any other educators are interested in the curriculum you're developing, how would they go about finding that?
Yeah, EP Trash Mob is strictly on Instagram. It's not a community pickup, so you can join the trash mob at any time. Anytime you're out, if you pick up trash, take a picture of it and tag us, and it's contagious. Once more people see you doing it, they'll join in as well. And we share all of the people who throw away trash so we can spread it out to the audience, and y'all spread it to your people, we're gonna spread it to the masses, and just get everybody on board.
Yeah,
So find
hopefully people will start to develop just to naturally develop the habit of, like, picking up,
Yeah,
trash.
every
I know
time
I try to if I'm in the parking lot going into the grocery store or whatever, if I see something, I try to pick it up, toss
Mhm.
it in the bin on the way in. Um, Also, I have my little trash bag. Oh, this might be a good promo idea. So where every podcast interview I've done so far, it's like in the middle, I'm like, "Oh, I have an idea for you."
Mhm.
Little trash bags that people can have in their car, so that way they're not throwing their trash out the window. So, like,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
have a little, like, trash bin in my car that I put trash in, and when I go to the car wash, I dump it there. So you get
huh,
some green EP Trash Mob trash
yeah.
bags for people to keep in their cars.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
Because that's where a lot of the litter, like, especially, when I'm driving places that I know people don't walk along, right? And you see all this litter, it's people are throwing out of their windows. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
that drives me absolutely insane. I saw someone throw something out their window and they had California plates, and I'm like, "How dare you drive through our city
Yes.
in litter?"
Go to Texas and you're gonna litter.
Like,
Come
if
on,
we
Cal.
weren't actively moving right now, like, get up and,
Right.
go throw it back in their car. I've seen that on Instagram before.
Yeah.
It's like, take your trash with you. It really is not that hard to, like, just hold on to your trash, and this was one of the things I loved about Korea, is that
Mhm,
it's in the culture that you don't
mhm.
put trash on the ground. You carry your trash with you until you get to a trash can, and you don't see litter. And it's like, I wish we could adapt that here in the States because it gets really, really bad, and it's, gross, and then it attracts rodents and stuff. Um,
Mhm.
so, what's some advice you would offer to community members or educators who have dreams or ideas that they wanna, put into fruition?
Find your community. Find people that are just as loud as you are and go for it. Because I used to think that, like, I was like, "Oh, my dad is telling me these crazy ideas, and I've got these crazy ideas, but they're just ideas." But once you start talking to people, especially talking to you, we've come up with so many ideas already. And so find people that are inspiring, and I think the energy that you give and the energy you surround yourself with is the energy that you will get
Mhm.
returns. So find that light and find that support and talk about it. It's okay. However far fetched you might think your idea is, someone has a more wild idea.
Yes.
So don't be afraid and talk about it. The more I truly believe in the power of words. The more you speak
Mhm.
love, positivity, and the more you speak your ideas, they will come into existence. And for teachers, especially, we have such a beautiful opportunity for us to do it. Like, if you speak greatness into your kids, and just tell them how amazing they are. They are amazing. They
Mhm.
will become what you say. And if you tell them the negative stuff, they will become the negative stuff.
Yeah.
Because there are days where I'm in a mood and I know I'm telling y'all are not listening, y'all are and then I'm like, they're not listening because I'm telling them they're not listening.
Mm.
Moment I switch it up and just say, "Oh my god, you guys are the best kids. You guys are so smart," and finding those individuals and telling them, shouting them out, they internalize it
Yes.
and it becomes reality. So it can become your reality, but as teachers, we have such a beautiful opportunity for to make it their reality as well.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely find your community because I think we've become this culture of, like, don't tell people your ideas because then they're gonna talk you out of it, and some people do, right? I've definitely had been surrounded by people like that where it's like you have a dream or an idea about something, and they immediately start coming up, like, with all the things that could go wrong or the reasons why it won't work or, I have wanted to be an artist my whole life. My grandmother used to always be, "Oh, you're gonna be a starving artist." Like,
Mhm.
why is that the first thought? Like, instead of that, let's figure out how to not be a starving artist.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so definitely surrounding yourself with the people who are gonna basically what you were just saying with the kids, speak life over your dreams and your ambitions. Because listen, I think on the first time we hung out with each other, I was like, "Don't tell me your ideas, because I'm gonna make it happen."
It really did. You started telling me all these ideas and I was like, "Oh, dang." And then you had told me, you were like, "Yeah, don't share me your ideas because I will make it. I will
'Cause
find a
I've
way to."
I've been doing marketing and branding for 20 years. I'm like, as soon as somebody has a conversation with me, I'm like, "Oh, but you could do this, and then you
Uh-huh.
should think about this, and then maybe reach out to these people." I'm like, God has given me all the experience and the work that I've done for a
Mhm,
reason, and it's for me to now give it to other people and to feed into, be a resource to them. So
mhm.
I'm definitely here to hype up the Sun Hive Micro School. If you need a photography teacher, I'll go get my certification. Uh, and then obviously hyping up the EP Trash Mob. Definitely believe and you got to keep your city clean. Um, and if you want other people to recognize your city, you got to be proud of your city. So,
Exactly.
I very much enjoy El Paso and what it has been giving to me,
Mhm.
including Megan, who is my Beehive bestie.
That's right.
Um, and I appreciate you for joining me on the podcast. And we'll definitely have to do another interview, after the launch of the school and definitely, keep getting updates on the progress. But I'm proud of you. I appreciate you. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sharvon.
Life doesn't always stay in perfect focus. There's magic in the blur we can't ignore. Every shadow, every highlight softly shows us who we are and who we're reaching for. When the world feels out of frame, every thought, every fear, every revelation, I find my way through the quiet flame, light and life in all the limitations.